My sister took money from my room and spent it on herself. She thought I was going to cry. Then Dad came yelling about where the money he prepared for my sister's college tuition went. I was 17 when I discovered my sister Megan was the family's golden child, and I was just the backup plan. The $8,400 in my dresser drawer wasn't mine. I'd been holding it for my friend Trevor, whose parents would have confiscated it if they found out he'd been working under the table at the warehouse. He was saving to escape his father's fists. I was supposed to give it back to him Monday morning so he could put a deposit on an apartment. When I came home from my shift at the diner Saturday night, the envelope was gone. I tore my room apart, checked under the mattress, behind the dresser, inside every book on my shelf. Nothing. Then I noticed my sister's door was cracked open, music playing softly. She never left her door open. Megan was sitting on her bed, shopping bags scattered around her like trophies. Designer shoes, a leather jacket, makeup palettes that cost more than I made in a week. Nice haul, I said, keeping my voice steady. She looked up with that practiced, innocent smile. Birthday shopping. Can you believe I'm finally 18? Her birthday was 3 months away. See anything you like? She held up a purse that probably cost $2,000. Maybe if you didn't waste your time at that greasy diner, you could afford nice things too. I walked closer. The receipt was sticking out of one bag. $8,147.63. My throat tightened. Where did you get that kind of money? She shrugged. I've been saving. Saving what? You don't have a job. I do things for Dad sometimes. Help with his business stuff. Dad owned 3 hardware stores. Megan had never set foot in any of them. You took it from my room. Her face didn't even flicker. Prove it. That's when Dad's voice exploded from downstairs. Megan, kitchen, now! We both froze. Dad never yelled. Not when I failed chemistry. Not when Megan crashed his BMW. Never. She grabbed my arm as we headed downstairs, her nails digging in. Whatever happens, keep your mouth shut. Dad was standing by the kitchen table, his face purple with rage. Mom sat in the corner, tears streaming down her face. On the table was an empty safe deposit box. Where is it? His voice was deadly quiet now. Where's what? Megan's voice cracked slightly. Your college fund. $42,000. Gone. My blood went cold. Megan's hand tightened on my arm. I don't know what you're talking about, she said. Dad slammed his fist on the table. I went to transfer it to the university. The bank showed me the withdrawal. Your signature. 3 days ago. 3 days ago. The same day Trevor's money disappeared. Mom finally spoke. We mortgaged the house for that money, Megan. Sold my mother's jewelry. That's when I noticed the shopping bags by the door. Not just from today. Dozens of them. Hidden behind the coat rack. You've been stealing for months, I whispered. Megan turned to me, and for the first time I saw real fear in her eyes. Then she smiled. A cold, calculating smile that made my stomach drop. Actually, she said, turning back to our parents, Callie's the one who's been stealing. What? I couldn't breathe. She pulled out her phone, swiping to her photos. I have proof. Screenshots of her messages to her boyfriend about taking money. Pictures of her with expensive things she couldn't afford. She showed them the screen. My messages. But I'd never sent them. Photos of me that I'd never taken. Holding things I'd never owned. Dad's face went from purple to white. Callie? She's lying, I said. Check when those messages were sent. Check. I also found this in her room, Megan continued, pulling out a bank slip from her pocket. A deposit slip for $42,000, with my name on it. But the account number, I recognized it. It was Trevor's emergency account. The one he'd opened with a fake ID because his father tracked all his finances. Megan had deposited the college money into Trevor's account under my name. That's not my account, I said desperately. Trevor can explain? Trevor? Dad's voice was ice. Your dropout boyfriend who works at that warehouse? He's not my boyfriend. He's my friend who's trying to escape his abusive... Stop lying. Megan's tears were perfectly timed. I tried to protect you. I've been covering for you for months, but I can't anymore. She pulled up more photos. Me at work, counting my tips. But the angle made it look like I was counting stacks of bills. Security footage from the hardware store showing me there after hours, when I'd been picking Dad up after his car broke down. Each image twisted to tell a different story. I followed her last week, Megan continued, her voice shaking with practiced emotion. She met some man at a motel. Gave him an envelope full of cash. That was Trevor's cousin, picking up money to bail Trevor's younger brother out after their father had him arrested on false charges. But in the grainy photo, you couldn't tell who it was. Mom stood up slowly. Callie, how could you? I didn't. Check my work schedule. Check with my manager. I've been working doubles to help cover your tracks. Dad finished. His disappointment hurt worse than anger would have. We gave you everything. You gave her everything. The words exploded out of me. Private tutors, the car, the shopping trips. I wear thrift store clothes and work 60 hours a week while she does nothing but... Because we knew she had potential, Mom said quietly. You were always so difficult, independent. We figured you'd be fine on your own. The truth of it knocked the wind out of me. They'd written me off years ago. Megan stepped forward, playing the concerned sister. Maybe if we return everything, the university will understand. I can take a gap year, work to help pay it back. Or with what job? I laughed bitterly. You've never worked a day in your life. I'll figure it out, she said, then looked at our parents with those fake tears. I just want our family to heal from what Callie's done. Dad pulled out his phone. I'm calling the police. No! Megan and I both shouted at the same time. She recovered first. I mean, she's still our family. Maybe we can handle this privately. But I knew why she really didn't want cops involved. They'd investigate properly. They'd find the trail she'd tried to create wouldn't hold up. Give me 24 hours, I said. Let me prove she's lying. Dad laughed. A cold, hollow sound. You want time to run? To take more? I want time to show you the truth. The truth is right here, he said, gesturing to Megan's phone. You stole from your family. From your sister's future. Check her closet, I said desperately. Check her room. She has thousands of dollars of new things. Because I've been saving birthday and Christmas money for years, Megan said smoothly. Unlike someone who spends every penny on her deadbeat friends. That's when my phone buzzed. Trevor, asking if I could give him the money early because his father had found his hiding spot and was tearing the house apart. I looked at the message, then at my family. If I told Trevor the truth, he'd be trapped, maybe killed. But if I didn't clear my name, I need to make a call, I said. You're not going anywhere, Dad said, stepping between me and the door. Then let me call here, on speaker. You can hear everything. He nodded slowly. I dialed Trevor's number, my hands shaking. Callie? Thank God. My dad's going insane. Can you bring the money now? Trevor, I said carefully. The money's gone. Silence. Then, what? Someone took it. All of it. Callie, this isn't funny. I need that money. If I don't get out tonight, I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You promised. His voice broke. You said it would be safe. I thought it would be. My 13-year-old brother has a broken arm because of him. I've been saving for 2 years. That money was our only chance to get out. Dad's expression flickered. Mom put her hand over her mouth. Who's this Trevor? Dad asked after I hung up. My coworker. His father is Anthony Brennan. Dad went pale. Everyone knew Anthony Brennan. Half the police force was scared of him. The other half was on his payroll. You were hiding money from Anthony Brennan's son in our house? Mom whispered. He was trying to save his siblings, I said. His father beats them. Trevor's been working under the table because his father takes any legal income. This is just another lie, Megan said quickly. She's making it up. But Dad was looking at her now, really looking, at the designer bags, the new clothes, the jewelry she was wearing that Mom hadn't seen before. Megan, he said slowly, show me your bank statements. What? Your bank statements. If you save this money over years, there'll be a record. I kept it in cash, she said. You know I don't trust banks. Since when? Since always. You had a savings account. We put your birthday money in it every year. I closed it. When? She hesitated. Last year. Dad pulled out his phone, logging into the bank app. It says here your account is still open. Balance, $17. The room went silent. I meant my other account, Megan said. What other account? The one I opened myself. You're 17. You can't open an account without a parent. Another hesitation. I meant the one at the credit union. Which credit union? I don't remember the name. Dad stood up slowly. You're lying. She's manipulating you. Megan pointed at me. This is what she does. She turns everything around. Then explain the $42,000, Dad said. Explain how your signature ended up on the withdrawal slip. She forged it. The bank has cameras, Megan. They have video of you at the counter. Megan's face went white. That's impossible. I never... She stopped. We all stared at her. You never what? Dad asked quietly. I want a lawyer, she said. You want a lawyer? You're not under arrest. You're our daughter. Not anymore, she said. And the mask finally slipped completely. I'm done pretending to be grateful for scraps while you pour everything into this family's reputation. Scraps? Mom stood up. We gave you everything. You gave me expectations, requirements. I had to be perfect, get straight A's, get into an Ivy League school, become a doctor or lawyer, live your dreams, not mine. So you stole your college fund? I took what I was owed. 18 years of being your show pony. $42,000 doesn't begin to cover it. Dad sat down heavily. Where's the money, Megan? Gone. Spent. Invested in my actual future. Which is? None of your business. That's when I remembered something. The shopping bags. From today. The receipt said $8,000. Everyone turned to look at the bags by the door. That's Trevor's money, I said. She took it from my room and spent it on herself. Megan laughed. Prove it. The serial numbers, I said suddenly. Trevor's paranoid. He wrote down all the serial numbers of the bills. He has them in his phone. Megan's smirk faltered. Dad called Trevor back, put him on speaker, asked him to read the serial numbers. Trevor, confused but desperate, read them out. All hundreds. Sequential numbers from the bank where he'd cashed his paychecks. Now, I said, check the cash in her wallet. Megan clutched her purse. You can't. We can and we will, Dad said. He took her purse, opened her wallet. $600 bills remained. He read the serial numbers. They matched Trevor's list. So she took some cash, Megan said. That doesn't prove anything about the college fund. But it proves you're a thief, I said. And a liar. She turned to our parents. You're really going to believe her over me? Your favorite daughter? You were never our favorite, Mom said quietly. We loved you both equally. Liar! Megan screamed. Everything was about her. Poor Callie, working so hard. Independent Callie, so responsible. You gave me things to make up for the fact that you actually loved her. The room went silent. We never... Mom started. Save it, Megan said. I heard you talking. How proud you were that Callie worked for everything. How she didn't need your help. How strong she was. While I was just the pretty one who needed constant attention. I stared at her. So you decided to frame me? I decided to take what would hurt you most. Your integrity. Your hard-earned reputation. But then Dad had to go and check the college fund early. Where is it? Dad asked again. The $42,000. Megan smiled. Check Callie's boyfriend's account. The one she claims isn't hers. We will, Dad said. And when the bank traces show it came from your withdrawal, her smile faded. You didn't think about that, did you? He continued. The bank keeps records of every transfer, every deposit. They'll trace it back to you. I'll say Callie made me do it. That she threatened me. With what? You're older, bigger, and you've been taking self-defense classes for 3 years. Another thing she'd forgotten we knew. Megan stood up. I'm leaving. No, Dad said. You're not. Sit down. You can't make me. I can call the police, report the theft. Is that what you want? She sat back down. Dad called the bank, explained the situation. They confirmed the money had been deposited into an account under my name, but the signature on the deposit slip matched Megan's signature on file. The security footage showed Megan making the deposit. Why? Mom asked, tears streaming down her face. Why would you do this? Megan looked at her with cold eyes. Because I could. Because you made it easy. Because Callie had something I wanted. respect she didn't have to buy. So you tried to destroy her? I tried to become her. The self-made success story, starting from nothing, but I needed starting capital. That wasn't nothing, Dad said. That was your future. No, Megan said. That was your future for me. I never wanted college. I wanted to travel, start a business, live. So, talk to us. I did. Remember? When I was 15, I said I wanted to take a gap year. You threatened to cut me off. I remembered that fight. Megan had wanted to backpack through Europe. Dad had called it wasting her potential. So your solution was to steal? Mom asked. My solution was to take control of my life. By ruining mine? I asked. She looked at me. For a moment, I saw something like regret. Then it was gone. You'd have been fine. You always are. Working your little jobs, saving your money, helping your pathetic friends. St. Callie. Trevor's not pathetic. He's surviving. Same thing. Dad stood up. Pack your things. What? You heard me. Pack your things and get out. Megan laughed. You're kicking me out? I'm 17. You'll be 18 in 3 months. Until then, you can stay with Aunt Diana. Aunt Diana lived in a trailer park 3 hours away. She had 4 kids and no patience for what she called city nonsense. You can't be serious. I'm dead serious. You stole from your family. You tried to frame your sister. You've been lying for months. I don't trust you in this house. Mom? Megan turned to her. Mom shook her head. I can't even look at you right now. Megan stood up slowly. You'll regret this. The only thing I regret, Dad said, is not seeing who you really were sooner. She went upstairs. We heard her slamming drawers, throwing things. 20 minutes later, she came down with 2 suitcases. I'll need money for Aunt Diana. No, Dad said. Diana's already agreed to take you for free. You'll work in her diner to earn your keep. Her diner? That grease pit? That grease pit is honest work, something you need to learn about. Megan looked at me. This is your fault. No, I said. This is yours. She left without another word. The next morning, Dad drove me to Trevor's house. We parked down the street watching. Trevor's father's truck was gone. Wait here, Dad said. He walked to the door, knocked. Trevor answered, his left eye swollen shut. I heard Dad introduce himself, explain about the money. Trevor's shoulders shook. His 13-year-old brother appeared behind him, arm in a cast. Dad pulled out his wallet, counting bills. This is what my daughter stole from you. We can't take charity, Trevor said. It's not charity. It's what you're owed, plus interest for the delay and trouble. He handed Trevor $10,000. This is too much, Trevor protested. No, Dad said. It's not enough. No one should have to live like this. He gave Trevor a business card. I know a lawyer. She specializes in custody cases, getting kids away from violent homes. She'll work pro bono. Trevor stared at the card like it was made of gold. When Dad came back to the car, I was crying. Thank you, I whispered. He pulled me into a hug. I'm sorry. For not seeing, for not believing you immediately. You believed her because she was convincing. I believed her because it was easier than believing the truth, that we'd raised someone capable of such cruelty. We drove home in silence. Mom was in the kitchen making breakfast. She'd been crying too. I called the university, she said. Explained the situation. They're willing to defer Megan's enrollment and apply the deposit to your tuition next year. My tuition. We know you were planning to take a gap year to save money. But you're going to college, Callie. We're paying. I can't accept. Yes, you can, Dad said. It's not charity. It's what you're owed. What we should have offered from the start. What about Megan? Megan made her choice, Mom said. She has to live with the consequences. But consequences, I would learn, weren't always enough. 3 weeks passed. Trevor and his siblings moved into a shelter while the custody case proceeded. His father was arrested for assault after Trevor finally pressed charges. I visited them every day, bringing food and helping with homework. Megan called once from Aunt Diana's. Not to apologize, but to blame me for ruining her life. I hung up. Then the letters started coming. First to our neighbors, explaining that I was a thief and a liar who'd stolen my sister's college fund. She included the doctored screenshots, the manipulated photos. Then to my workplace. My manager, who'd known me for 2 years, threw it in the trash. But corporate received one too. They launched an investigation. Even though I was cleared, the damage was done. Parents didn't want that girl serving their children. I was let go. She sent them to my school, to my teachers, to my friends' parents. Each letter was carefully crafted to sound concerned, like she was warning them about me for their own good. Dad tried to stop her, but the letters came from different locations, different post offices. She was traveling somehow, despite having no money. Then we learned how. She'd been stealing from Aunt Diana, small amounts at first from the register, then from Diana's savings jar. Finally, she'd taken Diana's credit card and maxed it out. Diana pressed charges. Megan was arrested in a bus station, 2 states away. She called Dad from jail. Get me out. No, I'm your daughter. You were. Now you're just someone who shares our DNA. She got 6 months in juvenile detention for the theft and fraud. Would have been more if she'd been 18. During those 6 months, life slowly returned to normal. I started at a new restaurant. Trevor's custody case was progressing. His father was facing serious jail time. The younger kids were placed with Trevor temporarily while he petitioned for guardianship. I tutored his siblings in the evenings. Dad hired Trevor at the hardware store. Mom taught his sister to sew. We became an odd kind of extended family. The night before Megan's release, Dad sat me down. She's not coming home, he said. Where will she go? There's a halfway house for teens aging out of the system. She'll stay there, get her GED, find work. Will you help her? We'll pay for the halfway house, nothing more. She needs to learn to stand on her own. What if she comes here? We have a restraining order. If she comes within 500 feet, she'll be arrested. It felt extreme. Then again, Megan had always been extreme. She got out on a Tuesday. By Thursday, she disappeared from the halfway house. Friday evening, I was walking to my car after work when I saw her. She was thinner, her hair dyed black, wearing clothes I didn't recognize. Hey sis, I pulled out my phone. You're violating the restraining order. I just want to talk. We have nothing to talk about. I have something of yours. She held up an envelope. Trevor's envelope, the one I'd hidden the money in. That's empty, I said. Now it is, but it has your fingerprints all over it, and a note in your handwriting detailing your plan to frame me. I never wrote. Handwriting can be forged. Ask me how I know. My blood went cold. What do you want? $10,000. I don't have $10,000. Dad does. He gave it to your boyfriend. He's not my... I stopped. You were watching? I've been watching for weeks. I know where Trevor's staying, where his siblings go to school. Vulnerable kids, aren't they? You wouldn't I? I already destroyed your reputation once. Imagine what I could do to traumatized kids in foster care. That's evil. That's survival. I looked at her. Really looked. She wasn't the sister I'd grown up with anymore. Maybe she never had been. Fine, I said. I'll get your money. Good girl. You have 48 hours. She melted back into the shadows. I sat in my car, shaking. Then I called Dad. She's escalating, he said after I explained. This is extortion. She'll hurt them. Trevor's siblings. They've been through enough. We're not giving her money. Then what? We give her what she wants. A meeting, with witnesses. The plan was simple. I'd arranged to meet Megan, wearing a wire. Dad would have the police waiting. She'd incriminate herself, get arrested for extortion and violating the restraining order. Simple plans never work with Megan. She texted from a burner phone. The meeting would be at an abandoned warehouse outside town. Midnight. Come alone or the envelope goes to the police. It's a trap, Trevor said when I told him. He'd insisted on being involved. Of course it's a trap, but what choice do I have? Let me go instead. She'll know. She's watching. Dad wanted to involve the police immediately. Mom begged me not to go, but I knew Megan. She'd follow through on her threats. She'd destroy those kids just to hurt me. So I went. The warehouse was dark, empty. My footsteps echoed. The wire felt obvious under my shirt. You came, Megan said, stepping out of the shadows. I said I would. Where's the money? Where's the envelope? She held it up. Even from 10 feet away, I could see something was wrong. It was too thick, too heavy. That's not the original. No, it's better. It's got your prints, your writing, and a bonus. Trevor's blood. What? Just a little. From a cup he threw away. Amazing what you can find in trash. That won't prove anything. It'll prove you were both involved. A couple framing an innocent girl for theft. No one will believe that. They believed it before. She was right. They had. The money, she said. Now. I pulled out a bag. 10,000 in marked bills, courtesy of the FBI. Dad had called them after all. Extortion across state lines was federal. Megan grabbed the bag, not checking the bills. Rookie mistake. Pleasure doing business, she said, turning to leave. Megan, wait. She stopped. It doesn't have to be like this. You could get help. Therapy. Start over. She laughed. With what? A criminal record? No family? No money? You have money now. 10,000. That's nothing. I need more. How much more? All of it. Everything Dad has. Everything you have. It's only fair. Fair? You tried to destroy me. You destroyed me first. By existing. By being perfect without trying. I'm not perfect. No. But they thought you were. The daughter who didn't need them. While I needed everything and it was never enough. For a moment, I saw the hurt child she'd been. Then she smiled and it was gone. This is just the beginning, she said. I'll bleed you dry. All of you. No, you won't. The lights came on. FBI agents surrounded us. Megan spun, looking for an exit. You set me up. You set yourself up. The moment you chose crime over communication. They arrested her for extortion, violation of a restraining order, theft, fraud, and identity theft. They'd connected her to several other victims. At her trial, she represented herself, claimed it was all a misunderstanding, that we'd conspired against her. The jury deliberated for less than an hour. Guilty on all counts. She got 5 years in federal prison. Would have been less, but she threatened the judge. After the sentencing, she looked at me. I'll never forgive you. I wasn't asking for forgiveness. When you get out, we'll be gone. New city. New names if necessary. I'll find you. Maybe. But we'll be living our lives. You'll be wasting yours on revenge. The bailiff led her away. That was 2 years ago. Trevor got custody of his siblings. He's in community college now, studying social work. His brother's arm healed. His sister stopped having nightmares. I'm in my second year at State University, pre-law, ironically. I want to help kids like Trevor's siblings. Kids trapped in violent homes with nowhere to turn. Mom volunteers at a women's shelter. Dad mentors young men aging out of foster care. We don't talk about Megan much, but when we do, it's with sadness, not anger. She writes sometimes. Not to apologize, but to update us on her plans for when she gets out. Each letter is more delusional than the last. She's going to be a CEO, a lawyer, a doctor. She's going to destroy us. We don't read them anymore. Last month, Aunt Diana visited. She brought photos from before everything fell apart. Megan and me as children, laughing, playing, being sisters. She wasn't always like this, Diana said. No, I agreed. She wasn't. What happened? I thought about it for a long time. She confused love with things, respect with fear, success with taking instead of earning. Could you have saved her? From the world? Maybe. From herself? No. Diana nodded. Some people are their own worst enemies. And some people, I said, looking at a photo of us at Christmas, both in matching pajamas, are just enemies. She left the photos. I kept one, Megan and me at ages 5 and 6, building a sandcastle, before the competition, before the resentment, before she decided I was the barrier to her happiness. I keep it as a reminder, not of what we were, but of what we could have been. If she'd made different choices, if she'd asked for help instead of taking it, if she'd seen me as a sister instead of a rival, but she didn't. And here we are. Trevor asked me once if I regret turning her in. No, I said. I regret that it was necessary. Do you think she'll change? People can change, but they have to want to. And Megan wants everyone else to change for her. That's sad. Yes, it is. We were sitting in his apartment, helping his siblings with homework. His brother was laughing at something on TV. His sister was teaching my mom a card game. Dad and Trevor were discussing inventory for the store. This was family. Not blood necessarily, but choice. People who showed up, who helped without keeping score, who loved without conditions. Megan never understood that. She thought love was transaction. Loyalty was weakness. Family was something you were stuck with, not something you built. 3 years left on her sentence. 3 years to plan whatever revenge she thinks will satisfy her. But while she's planning, we're living. Trevor's graduating next year. His brother made the honor roll. His sister joined the art club. I'm applying to law schools. Dad's opening a 4th store. Mom's writing a book about recovery from family trauma. We're not waiting for Megan's next move. We're not living in fear. We're just living. She took $42,000, but she gave us something worth more. Clarity. We know who we are now, what we value, what we won't tolerate. And we know that family isn't about blood. It's about showing up. Megan never learned that lesson. Based on her letters, she never will. But that's not my problem anymore. I've got my own life to live, and it's a good one, without her in it.